Welcome back to Thone's Thoughts. Number 111 comes from Acts chapter 22, the statement of his history before the Jews and the Romans. And this was when he was about to be, the Jews wanted him to punish him, and the centurion comes down and finds out he's a Roman and all that. And so this is what he says at that time. Acts 22, verses 2 through 5. And when they had heard what he spoke to them in Hebrew language, they kept all the more silent. Then he said, I am indeed a Jew, born in Tarsus of Cilicia, who brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, taught according to the strictest of our fathers' law, and was zealous towards God as you all are today. I persecuted this way to the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women, as also the high priest bears me witness, and all the council of the elders, for whom I received letters to the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring in chains even those who were there to Jerusalem to be punished. Now, the charge against him here is that he brought a Gentile into the temple, which was not true, by the way, and that's elsewhere in this chapter and the previous chapter. He brought a Jew with him to Jerusalem, a Gentile with him to Jerusalem, but then he did not take him into the temple. The people he went into the temple with were other Jewish Christians. Why is this in the Bible? To establish Paul's position before the accusers and the government. He's saying to the accusers, you know what I have done in the past. You know that I was sort of the chief henchman of the high priest at one time, in that I went to all these places and got these nasty people who were not believing correctly out and brought them to be incarcerated and in some cases killed by the high priest and his people. So that's my relationship to Jews, so I don't know why you have any complaint against me. Then he also points out that he, in the hearing of the government people, the Romans, where he came from, and the fact that he had been actually working with the Jewish establishment not too many years before, and in fact that he had studied under the most revered of the Pharisees, Gamaliel, and the Romans, who were fairly smart people, took note of these things. These were not news to them. They knew who Gamaliel was. They knew who the high priest was. They knew that the Jewish people were being persecuted. Jewish Christians were being persecuted by the Jews. They knew all these things. So this sort of brings everybody quickly up to date on who it is that's speaking. Why is this in the Bible? Well, that's what I just said. Establish Paul's position before the accusers and the government. Who is this written to? It was written to a whole bunch of people, all those present in the vicinity of the temple. And this was the Roman castle, so to speak, was actually Herod's palace in Jerusalem, but Herod was rarely there. And the Roman people, that's where all the all the people of the soldiers and all the Roman rulers lived in this building, which is right next door practically to the temple. So it was, all this happened sort of in that vicinity, not in the temple because the Romans couldn't go in there, but in between the temple and the headquarters, so to speak. And what was the communications? He clarified who he was. Application to my life. Paul here both appeals to the Jews that he was a serious student of the law, and he had his credentials. You know, I studied under Gamaliel, and so, you know, that he had as such persecuted the sect of Jesus followers, yes, until his encounter with Jesus on the way to Damascus. Thus he, as we should, stated the facts of his spiritual journey to the truth. And this is the important part of witnessing, by the way. Remember that. We have to first show the person we're witnessing to, I was a sinner, I was a bad person at one time. And, you know, that's important. This is just as necessary for us to relate to others as we are to have any hope of leading them towards salvation. So, if we are able to say, yes, I was a drunkard, or yes, I was you name the sin. I used to do this, and then I had this experience with Jesus, and now I'm no longer like that. And that's what gets their interest, you see, in following Jesus, is that you were at one time just as bad as they were, if not worse. And then, but now you're not that way, and therefore things are different. God says to me, be who you are in preaching and teaching to the lost. Be who you are. That is, do not appear to, do not put on makeup and wardrobe and go out like you're Moses to the people, or whomever they might listen to. You are to preach and teach to the lost as you are. And my personal response, Lord, help me to know what are the pertinent facts to help me witness. That is, some people I might be witnessing to who really don't care about part of my life. They don't care that I used to be a physicist. They don't care that I play the flute. They don't care that, there are parts of your life which are not of interest to every single person. And I'm just ask here, Lord, help me know what are the pertinent facts to help me witness. That is, what particular thing about me makes me the person who has a chance of leading this person to you. And that's difficult for a total stranger. It might be a bit easier for someone that you've known for some time. But at any rate, we need to just follow the Lord's lead in what we say. And I can say to these Jewish men of high office that were present at this time, Gamaliel got their interest. Worked for the high priest, got their interest. And then met Jesus, who they thought was dead, on the road to Damascus. That got their interest. These were three facts which they could say, what? And it gave him some authority to preach. I guess that completes this lesson.